Hello and welcome to the video. Today we want to take a look at the top 20 Shadow Pokemon for Season 20. We currently are still able to get rid of frustration, so I would really recommend you to take a look at this video here today. Take a look at the 20 Pokemon, go onto your storage and see if you can get rid of some more frustration for them, because they're going to be very important for the upcoming season. So let's dive right into the top 20 of them. Of course, feel free to subscribe and leave a like if you want to. Would really appreciate it. There's going to be content for the new season every single day on my channel. So yeah, feel free to do that and we can move on now to the first Pokemon. The most important one for sure is going to be Feraligatr, being very good in 2 leagues, being maybe okay actually in the 3rd league as well, depending on what kind of cups you're going to get for the Master League. This Pokemon is going to be a must-have for the new season again. One of the old Pokemon that were still good for this one, definitely still for sure something that you should build and see if you can get this Pokemon. It's currently available in Rocket Grunts as well, so for sure try to pick one up. As you're going to see as well, this Pokemon has a lot of potential, is a very good one of the strongest Pokemon in the Open Great League right now, which you're going to have here on the screen, and for sure worth picking up. Again, for Ultra League you also kind of want one, so you kind of want to have 2 of them, and if you have a good one in terms of IVs, which is kind of difficult for Shadow Pokemon, feel free to build one for the Open Master League as well, because it's going to be one of the best Pokemon for the Master League Premier Cup. Same goes for the next Pokemon. We're going to have Machamp here. Machamp, one of the big benefiters from this recent move date update, where we're going to have Karate Chop now being one of the best fast moves in the game. And yeah, it's one of the only Pokemon that can learn this fast move, which is really cool for it. Together with the Cross Chop buff and Stone Edge is a very hard-hitting move. This Pokemon is going to be great in at least 2 leagues, maybe even 3. For the 3rd one, it depends. We're going to have the Master League Premier Cup again, where like the legendary Pokemon are not allowed. But in the Open Great League and Open Ultra League, this Pokemon is going to be a must-have, both ranked 8 here, which is kind of cool. And you're gonna see already this Pokemon has so much potential, even in the Open Great League now. Being one of the only good Fighting-type Pokemon is going to be very valuable to beat something like a Bastion or the Licky, which are going to be more common now as well. You see here some suggested teammates as well, for example, the Alone Marowak, which we're also going to have in today's video. Next one of the old Pokemon again is going to be Quagsire, only being viable in the Open Great League. This Pokemon apparently still has some potential here, even though Mudshot got a little bit of a nerf. This Pokemon is still going to be able to get to those Awkward Tails quite fast, which is cool for it. You, I think, still only need 4 Mudshots to get to it. No, you need 5 for it. You need 5 Mudshots for the first one. I think you need 4 for the second one, but I'm not too sure about it, but I think that's kind of how it is. So this Pokemon is still going to be very decent, still going to be something that you can run, and still going to be the best Mud Boy to run, but of course lost a little bit of its weight there, but still definitely a good Shadow Pokemon to pick up. Currently available as well, as far as I know, definitely in raids currently, but yeah, for sure Pokemon that you still kind of need for the Open Great League. A new Pokemon that you need for the Open Great League is going to be the Marowak. By the way, rankings, I already made a video about the top 10 boss for this season based on all Pokemon rankings that they posted on Twitter. They changed a little bit from that, but they're still kind of similar to what we had before. But here, the normal Marowak ranking at number 14 for the Open Great League, making this Pokemon quite an interesting pick here, having also great synergy with something like a Mandibuzz or the Licky is going to help it out quite a bit. So I would recommend you to pick one up for it. Mudslap got buffed and Bone Club got buffed as well, and as you're gonna see here, now, the Marowak is going to be one of the best Pokemon that you can run as well in the Open Great League, having 18 wins, 14 losses, a lot of great matchups, and generally a lot of fast move pressure with a good charge move of Bone Club. A little bit tricky now though against some of those Pokemon that resist the ground typing, as Rock Slide is not really the greatest coverage move anymore after the nerf, but still a very cool Pokemon for the future meta. If you find this Pokemon in your storage as well, Jumpluff is now one of the best Pokemon to build as well. It got a slight buff with Fairy Wind, which actually is not really the reason why it's so high up. It is mainly because Flying type Pokemon got a nerf with Wing Attack, and so this Pokemon has a little bit more potential because it doesn't have to worry about those Gligar and Mantine anymore. But also it's going to be now in a role where it's one of the best Flying type Pokemon out there, so very cool Pokemon for sure, very bulky Pokemon, and the Shadow is definitely something that you can pick up here. You don't need the legacy move of Acrobatics. You can keep Acrobatics on it if you want to, but Aerial Ace is totally fine and maybe even preferred for this Pokemon. As you're gonna see, one of the best Pokemon to beat something like a Gastron, like the Feraligatr, or even like the Pokemon that you just saw before with the Marowak. Moving on, next one is going to be Drapion. Drapion is going to be one of the Pokemon that are very good in tier leagues, with the Ultra League as well as the Great League. Here we're going to see here the Great League variant of it. I still think that most Ice Sludge Bomb going to be preferred over Orchid in the future, but I might be wrong with that as well, who knows. But I think this might be the better play for it. Great typing, great fast move that got buffed with Poison Sting. For sure something you should look into your storage and see if you have this Pokemon, because it's worth getting for both Ultra League as well as Great League. Galate is another one which I feel like is going to have a little bit more play this season. Why? Because again, flying type Pokemon got nerfed, but also this Pokemon is one of the better fighting type Pokemon. Again, not relying on counter like others. We're going to have Psycho Cut here plus the close combat and Leaf Blade, having great coverage there, and it's going to be great for both Ultra League as well as the Open Great League, and definitely one of the main threats for the meta. I would imagine that this Pokemon is going to be quite common. It's just going to be able to beat most of the current meta, so like, yeah, this should be very common soon. But yeah, this Pokemon for sure something to look out for. Try to get one if you can. Very deadly Pokemon, especially in the safe swap position, and for sure something to get. Next one, we're going to have Shadow Golurk here. Shadow Golurk also going to be great in 2 leagues, with the Open Great League as well as the Ultra League. I would imagine this Pokemon is also going to be one of those that are going to be great in the limited meta, so for sure, again, something that you should look into your storage right now. See if you can get rid of Frustration and build this Pokemon for the new season. It's going to be one of the best that you can have for the season for sure. Top tier Pokemon, rank 30, rank 52, really good for both Ultra League as well as the Great League. Now we're going to have the Alolan Marowak. Like the other form, this Pokemon is definitely worth getting for the Open Great League. Issue is, this Pokemon has not been released for ages as a Shadow variant, so hopefully Niantic is going to allow us to get this Pokemon again in the future, but right now it is just for like I think 1 or 2 events available, and so it's a little bit sad that this is not like way more commonly seen or anything like this. So definitely if you have one and you still have Frustration on it, feel free to get rid of it. If you have one and not build it yet, feel free to build it. Got a double buff with Fire Spin as well as Bone Club, making this Pokemon definitely a good Pokemon, especially to beat Clefable, being able to resist every single charge move of this Pokemon. Definitely the main answer for this one. Here's an interesting one. Here we're going to have Alolan Sandslash, and you see already there are 2 different fast moves that you want to run, maybe actually 3, depending if they're going to give Metal Claw a +2 boost or +1 boost in terms of energy generation. Maybe even the Metal Claw going to be variable on the Sandslash. Here, Powder Snow for the Great League and Shadow Claw for the Ultra League apparently is going to be the best one that you can run. Again, you need 2 of them if you really want to play in all leagues. This Pokemon, very important, also still available I think from Grunt, so definitely make sure to get one of this one, because it is just one of the better Pokemon for the upcoming meta, being able to beat both Fairy type Pokemon as well as Poison type Pokemon, which are both very likely going to be very common for the upcoming season, so for sure get this Pokemon. The next is honestly I think some sleeper pick that a lot of people don't really expect too much. Ursaring, honestly I think that's going to be one of the coolest Pokemon for the new season. Why isn't the case? Because I think it's going to be the best safe swap. Like there's next to nothing that can really hard beat this thing. You have Shadow Claw as a good fast move, we have Swift as an amazing charge move for it, and we have Close Combat for like great coverage against like those Rock and Steel type Pokemon. And that is going to be such a good coverage set here for this Pokemon, being able to mostly force wins in most 2-shield scenarios, which is kind of mad. So for sure pick this Pokemon up. Ursaring is going to be top tier in the new meta, which is kind of hilarious, and I think it's kind of underrated on PvPoke right now, so definitely make sure to get one. Same kind of goes for Ursaluna, but only for the Open Master League, and this Pokemon is going to be very solid here. The normal variant is a little bit higher ranked than the Shadow variant, but both of them are going to be fine. Now with Swift being 35 energy, this Pokemon actually got a huge buff, being now actually meta in the Open Great League, Open Master League here, which is really cool. And so for sure if you have like a good one, it's of course a little bit difficult to get. It's worth building, but if you just have a normal variant of this one, non-Shadow, it's actually a little bit better to get, so like just rather go for that one. But if you have like a really good Ursaring or the Pre-Evolution Teddy Ursa running around nearly at 100% IVs, then maybe build one for the Open Master League. Dusknoir going to be one of the most important Pokemon, especially for the Open Ultra League for this upcoming season. This Pokemon has so much potential thanks to the Astonish buff and the Shadow Punch buff. This Pokemon is going to be amazing. Definitely pick one up, especially for the Ultra League. Very expensive to build though, but Shadow variant is a little bit better than the normal variant because of the Astonish damage output, as well as also the Shadow Punch being a little bit of a cheaper move. It's kind of nice for those Shadow Pokemon. Moving on, we're going to take a look now at Donphan. Donphan is going to be a very good Pokemon for the Open Great League, having access to Mudslap, but also the buff to Trailblaze. Going to help out a little bit, but also kind of sad for that Body Slam got nerfed. One of the Pokemon I definitely would have enjoyed some more Body Slam action. Mudslap, Trailblaze, Body Slam still going to be a very good moveset for this Pokemon, giving it great coverage also against those Mud Boys. And so it's definitely one of the Pokemon that you want to see as a Shadow as well, as Mudslap damage and yeah, especially with Trailblaze boost going to be very nice as a Shadow Pokemon. Also being one of the Pokemon that you can have to beat something like the Galarian Weezing is going to be very important, as Galarian Weezing is going to be one of the best Pokemon for the upcoming meta. Moving on, Steelix is going to be the next Pokemon here. We want to take a look at this Pokemon here as well in the Open Great League real quick. This thing is going to be an interesting pick here for this one, which might be a little better than this graph suggests. I think that Crunch might not be the way to go on this Pokemon. Could be wrong about it, but I could even see that you would want to run either Earthquake or the Heavy Slam actually on this Pokemon, being one of the good Steel types in this meta that did not rely on something like Mudshot, which you had in Galarian Stunfisk, for example. It's kind of a Pokemon that has a little bit more play now as well, so I would think that this Pokemon is going to have a lot of play for the upcoming season, especially just as an anti-Fairy type Pokemon, as Fairy type is going to be dominating. Drifblim going to be next. Again, no Pokemon is definitely better in the Open Ultra League compared to the Open Great League, but in both it's kind of valuable for sure, especially with the Astonish buff now and having Icy Wind plus the Fire type move Mystical Fire as an option. Going to give it also a lot of play in those limited metas because you can kind of adjust the moveset accordingly. And so this thing is going to be quite cool as well again, especially in a two-shot scenario, as you have the potential to debuff the opponent and do a ton of damage with Astonish, which is also a stab move. And of course, for stab Astonish, you really would like to have a Shadow bonus, which you saw already before with the Dusknoir, and so this Pokemon is going to definitely benefit quite a bit from the Shadow bonus as well. Next up, we're going to have Skuntank. Skuntank is going to be mainly better in the Open Ultra League, and so that's why we're also going to take a look at the Open Ultra League here real quick. Not really as ideal in the Open Great League because just, I don't know, like it's kind of missing something I feel like. But also got buffed this season with Trailblaze, being a little bit lower, being the same pacing as Crunch, making it kind of unpredictable if you're going to go for the boosting move or for Crunch, which also has the option to drop the opponent's defense. So that's going to be quite an interesting one here for sure. Skuntank seemingly definitely having a lot of play for the new season, and so for sure if you have that thing not built yet, or if you can take a look at your storage and see if they have it maybe with still Frustration, use the current event to get rid of Frustration and try to get yourself a Skuntank. Moving on to the next Pokemon, being good in literally every single league is going to be Hippowdon. 46 here on the Great League, 53 in the Ultra League, and 45 in the Master League, making it actually the best league for the Master League, which is kind of hilarious. Mainly going to be good for the Master League Premier Cup though, but for the Open Ultra League as well as for the for the Great League, it's going to be also a very cool Pokemon. We're going to take a look at the Great League here. Being able to beat Carbink is kind of nice. It's just very neutral. And also one thing as well about this meta, which is making Hippowdon a little bit better, is that Rock Side got nerfed. So you kind of would like to see some Rock type coverage on some Pokemon, and Hippowdon definitely can deliver this with Weather Ball Rock being a very solid way of doing Rock type damage. Of course, Sand Attack is going to be a newer move as well on it, which is going to help it out quite a bit. But yeah, this is going to be it for this one. We can move on to the next one. Rhyperior. Rhyperior is only going to be very viable for the Open Master League. Maybe the Pre-Evolution has some play in the Open Ultra League and Great League, but here, as you're going to see, it is one of the best new Pokemon for the Open Master League. Yeah, ranking at rank 16, I think the normal variant is also very high up, showcasing already its strength here. Being able to generate more energy and doing more damage with the move Mudslap is going to be so crucial for it, breaking basically everything here. But I have to say, I think that those ranks are a little bit overrated therefore. I think it would be a little bit lower still, because I think a lot of times here PvP poke goes by breaking swipe a bait and then hitting a rock wrecker afterwards, which is a little bit difficult to get all the time correct. So yeah, in this case, still think this Pokemon has a ton of potential and is going to be one of the best Master League Pokemon for the upcoming season. And we're gonna have the final one here. It's a Pokemon that you maybe would not really expect too much. A Pokemon that needs a double legacy moves there as well with Powder Snow and Icicle Spear, but actually Warren is kind of back. This Pokemon has more potential now because all the counter users are gone, and so this thing has more potential in both Open Ultra League as well as Open Great League. As this thing is also going to be able, for example, in the Great League, to be able to beat something like a Jump Love, which is really important, and just hits great coverage with Earthquake, which hits like those poison types, so super effective damage. So I could actually see that the Decidueye Sky, and Warrain meta is back, which was back in the day the Warrain plus Trevenant meta. So I think this Pokemon is going to have a lot of play for the upcoming season. This is going to be my list of 20 Shadow Pokemon that are going to be great for the next season. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.